Mazi Smith, man. Mazi Smith, first round pick. There was a big conversation in the Cowboys draft room. I know this because the video came out and proved it. So there was a big conversation in the draft room that was it was either going to be Mazi Smith, the D tackle from Michigan, or it was going to be Bergeron. Bergeron was an offensive lineman from Syracuse, like guard tackle type character. And Will McClay was like, hey man, I can find you a guard tackle type character. When's it going to be, when are we going to have another opportunity to where we can have a defensive tackle prospect like Mazi? When you look for a defensive tackle prospects, a lot of those dudes end up being day 3 guys, those big heavy trash can full of dirt type dudes. Those are day 3 guys. But if you can find one early in the draft or in the first round, if a D tackle is talented enough to go in the first round, you feel pretty good about that D tackle moving forward. Here's the conundrum. Mazi wasn't good. He wasn't. And not only was Mazi I don't want to say he was no good, but Mazi wasn't very good, right? Not only was Mazi not very good, Mazi had lost 30 to 40 pounds throughout the season. And that's not what we signed up for. We signed up for a nose. We signed up for a one tech. Depending on the defense that we're in, a dude that can line up head up on the center and play zero. So we just didn't get that from Mazi at all. So now we have to ask ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, chat, Cowboy fans, boys and girls, has Mazi Smith done enough to keep you from drafting a defensive tackle? Now, one thing that we have to think about with D tackles is they normally aren't, fresh out the box, ready to go. We just don't unpack, D tackles and they're just incredible day one. That's typically not how it goes. They got to get the offseason peanut butter to get into their man body. Then they got to deal with the technicalities of playing D line in the league. And then they got to worry about going against offensive linemen. It's really like a 2 to 3 year process to really get these D linemen, these D tackles on their feet. Unless you're a dude like Kobe Turner that can just roll up year 1 and damn near get 10 sacks. Unless you one of those characters, right? But Mazi ain't those characters. And I don't know how many of those characters exist in this draft, okay? But there's one draft pick that people are talking about. When I say people, I mean Cowboy fans are talking about. It is T'Vondre Sweat from Texas. Now, he's number 93, by the way, just in case anybody just wants to follow along. The thing about T'Vondre Sweat, and I'm a fan, right? But he's another one tech heavy, trash can full of dirt guy that can move around pretty good. Mazi was one of those guys last year. You got to ask yourself, if you're in position to draft T'Vondre Sweat from Dallas, and it could just be a Texas love affair. Cowboy fans love to do that, right? If you have the possibility to draft T'Vondre Sweat, right? Do you look at the player and go, hey, I need that player. I'm lacking at defensive line. Neville Gallimore may or may not be, giving me what I need. 290 Mazi done lost 40 pounds. Jonathan Hankins is a little older, and I don't know how many more 1-year deals we can just sign Jonathan Hankins to. You have to ask yourself, if you were in position to, would you sign a guy? Would you draft a character like T'Vondre Sweat? And everybody's saying it, man, but I think for where you would have to draft him at, I don't think you can do it. I think you've put enough equity into D tackle last year with Mazi in the first round, and we're definitely going to get to our 4th round pick that we got to have a even different conversation about. But T'Vondre Sweat, man, he's a character that I like, man. Heavy player, can move around a little bit, strong hands. He went to the Senior Bowl and went through all the pass rush drills. He didn't have a whole bunch of moves. He's a heavy pocket pusher. You're probably not going to get much in the pass rush department from him. But he is a little more athletic than the average Bear. So I'm just not in a good place to take D tackle early, especially one tech again early. This isn't like, you're the Washington Football Wizards from a couple of years ago and Deron Payne fell in your lap, or Jonathan Allen fell in your lap, or Chase Young fell in your lap, and before you know it, you just keep drafting first round picks at D tackle. This ain't like one of them situations, right? It's like, all right, we got Mazi and it didn't work. Not a top 15 pick or nothing, not a top guy or nothing like that, but we got Mazi. And now we're in this situation where, yeah, we could draft D tackle, but we need offensive line as well. We could use wide receiver also. We probably got to double up at linebacker. You know, it's one of those situations. There's not going to be a more important undrafted free agent class than next year, because that's where you're going to have to find your running back, or you're going to have to find your tight end or linebacker. Not saying that you can't get them in the draft, but boy, we got needs. And when you got needs like that, man, you just can't spend all your needs on your first round pick, your big draft equity, right? You can't spend that on defensive tackle. Maybe undrafted, but not in the first, man. Not in the first. And look, who knows, man? Mazi can get the offseason peanut butter, get back up to a respectable 330, and, you know, be strong and all that. Maybe Mazi can pull that off for you, but who are we kidding, man? Who are we kidding? Luke Schoonmaker was your second round pick. I'm not gonna talk about him very long, because it's just kind of the pick in general didn't make sense to me when we first made it. When we first made the pick didn't make all that much sense in the world. But Jake Ferguson emerged, which kind of made that pick even more frustrating, right? We knew that the Cowboys were in the tight end market, and prior to the draft, we were hearing Michael Mayer. Thank God we didn't. We were hearing Sam Laporta. We were hearing, names like that. I think if you drafted a tight end in the second round and it ended up being Sam Laporta, I think you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. Like, boy, we get to run so much 12 personnel. We got Jake Ferguson and Sam Laporta. We get to go crazy in 12 personnel now. That's what you would think, right? If you drafted a Sam Laporta in the second round, but you didn't. You didn't. Or even a Dalton Kincaid or whatever, because that name floated around too. But the idea that you ended up with Schoonmaker, I think the Cowboys showed their second round deficiency hand again. Like, hey, we didn't get what we wanted, so we rushed a little bit, or we took the hurt guy, or we took the gun under the seat guy, the trouble guy, or just took the not good guy in general, or took Tristan Hill, whatever. The Cowboys don't really strike on round 2 picks like that for whatever reason. They have more fifth round success than they do second round success. I don't know why the Cowboys do it, but chat, hang tight, because for the same reasons why one techs and D linemen maybe aren't ready year one, tight ends aren't ready in year one neither. Tight ends are not ready in year one neither, right? Typically they're not. Like I said, Sam Laporta is doing something special, but even all the best tight ends in the world, the ones you like the most, it takes them a while to get going, because they just got so much more to learn. They got so much more adapting to do, right? So when I look at Schoonmaker, not only is he not ready now, but I'm just looking at him like, man, when is he going to be ready? Because he's an older player. Schoonmaker like 27. He's 25. He like 27. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not drafting tight end at all. But if I could just look back at what Schoonmaker did for me, and this is the bad thing about Schoonmaker, chat. This is a terrible thing about Schoonmaker. As I cut my music off for 2 seconds, it's the terrible thing about Schoonmaker, chat, is Schoonmaker had all the opportunities. You know how, like, how can I make this? When. And this is, Cowboys have a difficult relationship with Cheeto Awuzie now, right? But you remember Cheeto Awuzie was on the team, and we was like, hey, let's give Cheeto Awuzie a shot. But we didn't give him a shot because Daryl Worley kept getting beaten. We wouldn't bench him. You know what I'm saying? I kind of got that same vibe from this year, right? The whole, hey, would you give my young dude a shot? I know this older character is here, this veteran is here, but can you give my young dude a shot? I look at the tight end position this year. A lot of people were looking for Peyton Hendershot to do anything impressive. I wasn't one of those people. Peyton Hendershot only gave you 16 catches the year before that, so I wasn't even really worried about it. But there are a lot of people that were thinking that Peyton Hendershot was going to be the guy and Schoonmaker was going to be the third. Sean McEwen was going to be the fourth. That was everybody's thought. Hunter Licky do some weird things at tight end sometimes, right? Like that was the thought. Not only did when Peyton Hendershot got hurt, Luke Schoonmaker got his chance, his one shot, his one opportunity, mom spaghetti. Not only did Luke Schoonmaker get that shot, but he did nothing with it.
It's fact. Yes. A similar event did take place.
He didn't do a thing with his opportunity. And when Peyton Hendershot came back, you want to know what Peyton and Luke Schoonmaker did? Y'all think Peyton and Luke Schoonmaker was any type of productive?
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No.
They did nothing. This was a one tight end show. Oh, and look, we run a gang of 12 and 13 personnel. I don't want to say a gang, but we run a good amount of 12 and 13. We run a good amount of 12. We did run some 13 sometimes, right? Man, it was chances for Luke to take over, man, but he didn't take it. Luke was playing basketball with the football. He was out there dribbling it, not catching it, dropping it. Whatever, chat. Here's my thing now, though, right? What does linebacker look like? DeMarvin Overshown was a character that, you know, Cowboy fans had some high hopes for because he had flashed in practice. He flashed in preseason a little bit, but boy, we got to have a long conversation about DeMarvin Overshown. And these are major topics in Cowboy land right now. One, he's coming off an injury. And whether it's Tony Pollard, it could be Terrence Steele, Michael Gallup. I don't even know what Trey is going to look like, but I don't even want to fathom it. I don't even want to think about Trey not being the guy that he is, right? But there's a common theme that when these players come back from these major injuries, that they're not who they once was. Luckily for Overshown, but he got hurt before football even happened. So he got a lot of time to recover. But chat, what if we live in this world where Overshown ain't the same dude?
Did you hear what I said?
We have got to live in this world, man. I know we want to live in fantasy land sometimes, and we want to live in this world where, hey, man, it's okay. Don't even worry about it, man. That thought is cool. That thought is all right. The idea of it is splendid, but sirs and ma'ams, Overshown may not be the same dude when he comes back. We got to live in that world. So when you ask me, yo, Voch, should we draft a linebacker because Overshown may or may not be the same dude? I think you have to consider that. I was just about to show y'all some Jeremiah Trotter film, but he's a Clemson Tiger, so we can't show ACC film. And that's unfortunate because I was about to show y'all some Peyton Wilson film, but he's a North Carolina State. What are they? Werewolves? Wolfpack? Can't show them neither. But you know who we can show? You know what we can do, chat? Hold on. This is what we can do, because Voch love y'all, man. This is what we can do. Voch love the kids, man. This is what we're going to do. We're going to talk over some Edgerrin Cooper film. This is SEC right here. Y'all can't tell me nothing about Edgerrin Cooper and SEC film. All right, cool. Here we go. You can talk me. First of all, we have to draft linebacker. There is no excuse why we shouldn't be drafting linebacker. One, because we're going into this season with only one linebacker on the roster. That's Damone Clark. Everybody else is some sort of safety or hybrid player, right? So just first and foremost, we don't have linebackers. But here's the biggest point. And especially about the Overshown point that I'm just not even totally clear on what's going to happen in general. But we about to get a new defense coordinator. The Dallas Cowboys about to get a whole new defense coordinator. As of now, it's looking like Mike Zimmer. It could be Al Harris is what I'm hearing, unless while we're streaming, news is broken that he's going to the Washington Football Wizards. We know Joe Witt is currently a Washington Football Wizard. He's already, that news is broken. We also heard that Wink Martindale is a possible, this play was crazy. We also heard that Wink Martindale was possibly a candidate for defense coordinator for Dallas Cowboys. Here's my issue. We don't know what we're doing with two people. Let me prep my war call for this. We have no clue what we're doing with Micah Parsons, and we have no clue what we're doing with DeMarvin Overshown. No clue. Man, chat, we gonna get a new defense coordinator, and we don't know how that defense coordinator values safety. We don't know how that defense coordinator values linebacker size. We don't know if Micah's gonna be playing edge or Mike linebacker. Overshown may not even be Look, not only would he possibly not even be a linebacker, but DeMarvin Overshown may not even be a player archetype that fits anything. Right? Because somebody be like, well, Voch, if he's not playing linebacker, can he still play safety? What if your next coordinator want a safety that runs like a safety? You know? See, DeMarvin Overshown is fast for a linebacker. That's the thing about him. He's fast for a linebacker. I don't know if you want him playing like no too high stuff, you know? If Mike Zimmer gets here, Mike Zimmer runs a very traditional 4-3. We don't know what Overshown's going to look like. Chat, we got to talk, man. Life may be a little different. Life may be a little different when we get here. We may get back to the old world of, hey, we need a Micah, Sam, and a Will. And y'all know Sam linebackers run a little heavy. We got all light linebackers. So chat, we got to talk. Let me just cut off this Edgerrin Cooper before we just beat Edgerrin Cooper, Texas A&M. If you can get him, I'm losing sleep if I can get him. If Edgerrin Cooper ends up on your beloved Dallas Cowboys, can run, hit, cover, got about 8 sacks last year, I think like 12 altogether or something like that. Leader, running hit dude, 6'7". I mean, pardon me, he's not 6. He's 6'3", 230 something. Oh goodness, ladies and gentlemen, you tell me I can get Edgerrin Cooper on my team from Texas A&M. We could talk. I kind of don't even want to talk about Viliami Fehoko because one, I think we covered D-line with the Mazi stuff, but dog, like, what has Viliami done? I think Viliami getting cut next year, unless he showed me something, unless it's like, okay, we see the offseason peanut butter and Viliami comes in and he shows us that he's going to do something. Man, Viliami didn't show us nothing last year. A lot of these guys didn't, but at least Schoonmaker was in the game for me to definitively be like, all right, Schoonmaker hadn't done anything. Like Mazi was in the game, so I could definitively say, all right, Mazi definitively didn't do very much last year. I don't even remember Junior Fehoko in preseason or practice. I don't know. We ain't got to be mean about it though. Let's skip around a little bit. Let's talk about the running back position. I got a question for y'all, chat. I got a question for y'all. I'm curious. I got a question for y'all. Let's just talk about this a little bit. And let me prep my war call because I don't even know. Was Deuce Vaughn not good enough? Or was this team not really a run team in the first place? Was Deuce Vaughn not good enough? Or would this team, any running back, just not be great on this team? Like if Deuce Vaughn got the same amount of carries that Rico Dowdle got, like what would it look like? Or that Tony Pollard got, what would it look like? You know, this team in general just doesn't scheme the run really well. And you can tell like when you watch other teams, right? Like watch San Francisco, watch Baltimore, watch Detroit. I remember watching film for the Lions when the Cowboys played them. Like I just remember watching them going, man, y'all do different things with y'all run scheme that the Cowboys do not do. The Cowboys have a very caveman like run game. And that just made me think, man, is this a Deuce Vaughn is bad or not ready situation, or is the run game just not good? I think that's fair. So regardless of which, I do think Mike McCarthy has to go back to his layer or whatever. And he has to figure out, hey man, what are we going to do at running back? What are we going to like? We have to figure out running back and what that looks like. And I know a lot of people are, you know, into the whole bell cow running back thing. Man, listen, if y'all don't think the Cowboys about to resort to running back by damn committee, you crazy. If you don't think Cowboys are gonna go back to running back by committee, you are crazy. The Cowboys about to get a big running back like Braylon. Hold on, wait. Let me put this up here. Boom. Boy, the Cowboys got it, but they're about to get a big running back like Braylon Allen. And they gonna let him run over people and run through people. Number 0, he's the running back. They're gonna let him run over people and through people. And they're gonna pair Braylon Allen up with like some slashy running back. I don't know which one because we got a long way to go. But they're gonna pair it's gonna be running back by committee. And I don't want to say the weird thing about it, but the thing about it is I just don't think I don't think that Rico is gonna be a part of it. Tony Pollard definitely probably 9 times out of 10 is not going to be a part of it. You know, I'm showing Blake Corum from Michigan right now. I don't think any of the current running backs are going to be a part of the new running back solution. Maybe Deuce Vaughn will get some work. I know for sure. Like if I had to guess, Hunter Lipke will definitely be involved. But if I had to guess, Rico and Tony, I don't know if Rico and Tony are going to be involved. I don't know, but whatever happens is going to be a committee approach. That's just how I feel. And here's the biggest conversation that I had, and then I'm going to get up out of here. Appreciate y'all. Offensive line, man. Offensive line. What does your offensive line in the future look like? You know, Austin Richards showed us that he could at least play a little bit. He came into the Arizona Cardinals game, played left tackle at an emergency. Shouts out to Austin Richards. He did well. TJ Bass played a couple of emergency games. Tyler Smith got hurt a little bit. You know, Zach Martin went through old man things, you know, every now and then just showed up hurt one day. We had to rely on TJ Bass a little bit. He showed us some good promise. Brock Hoffman was another guy. Brock Hoffman got 2 games of experience in this year. So we got a chance to see those guys. But here's my new question, right? Have we seen enough of those guys to make a proper evaluation of do we need to draft somebody else? Right? When I watch these guys, TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, whoever, when I watch these guys, right, I go, man, they can hold down the fort. I go, man, they're good enough, right? Do I want good enough? Or do I want a gangster at the position? I think that's fair to say, and that's the problem that we're dealing with. That's the conundrum, so to speak. Will will Tyler Biadasz be back? I don't know.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction.
I don't know if Tyler Biadasz is going to be back. But what I do know is if Tyler Biadasz is not back, I know Brock Hoffman can play. He can play. But Chad, let me ask you a question. Do you want the dude that can play or do you want the stud? Gotta ask yourself, man. I want y'all to let me know. Do you want the dude that can play? We're looking at center Jackson Powers Johnson right now from Oregon. Do you want the dude that's cool, that can play? Or do you want the gangster? I think that's a fair question. So when I look at TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman, I'm like, man, you know, they're a good version of what a Joe Looney and Connor McGovern would be. You know, they're a good Matt Forniak type of combo guy that we have a backup center and a swing interior dude, right? Like it's good to have those dudes, those types of players, right? But I don't want to just have a regular offensive line. I want to have dudes on my offensive line. And there's going to be some people that don't like it. They're going to be like, but Voch, look at all the, you ought to be tired of drafting offensive line in the first round. I'm not, because Tyron Smith is 1,000 years old. And Zach Martin is 1,000, but a couple of months older than Tyron. I can't trust Terrence Steele. We probably won't retain Tyler Biadasz. I don't see the problem with drafting offensive line in the first round. Let me show y'all another character, Graham Barton. He's number 6. He played for Duke. Can't show you Graham Barton. He's an ACC player and he plays for Duke. But dog, is so much talent this year. I'll show you Zach Frazier then, center from West Virginia. Like, you just gotta ask yourself, man, do I want the he's cool, or do I really want to upgrade? I think the center position is one of the most underrated, because when you're really good at center, your whole offensive line just gets incredibly powerful in the middle. What typically happens with centers is that they're not very strong dudes, so teams try to hide them amongst guards, right? They'll combo them with guards and they'll try to hide them because they're not powerful. Like the center isn't the most powerful dude. But when you find a team that has a powerful center that you don't have to hide, those offensive lines just end up being better. When you look at the Lions and why they're great, or the Eagles and why they're great, or hell, we're Cowboy fans here. Remember how good Travis was? When you have a powerful center in the middle that you don't have to hide, and he can really maintain a lot of these blocks by himself, your offensive line as a whole gets more powerful because you can do run game things. And when you first go to football school, the first thing that they teach you about running the football, especially running zone, you got to deal with a gap and you got to block the mic. If you can deal with a gap, whether that be a 1-tech, 2-1-techs, whatever, if you could deal with a gap and block the mic 9 times out of 10, you will have success running zone, running the football, right? You will have success. So here's my thing. When you got to do like, Travis Frederick, when you got to do like Travis Frederick and he's mauling defensive tackles, or he's athletic enough to pound as a help guy, climb to the second level and then block the Mike linebacker, those are the two most important blocks in run game. Those are the two most important blocks in run game. You don't want to get penetration from A-gap, man. You don't want to let Mike's run free. I don't know if I want to leave that in the hands of Brock Hoffman. That's my thing. I want to leave that in the hands of a stud, a gangster, as I will call him. Jackson Powers Johnson, Graham Barton, the left tackle from Duke, number 62. Y'all go watch the film on your own. There's word around the league that he can end up playing center. Even Troy, I'm not gonna get the Islander names right, but Troy Fautanu from Washington, he's a dude that can play guard and center for you, right? Man, I'm just looking for offensive linemen, man. I know Tyler Smith is gonna be a dude that's around for a long time, but Tyron gets hurt. Zach is just getting old. See, it's funny because Tyron hasn't aged as much as Zach because Zach has played more. Like Zach got the miles on him, but Tyron got the injuries on him, right? When Tyron's healthy, he's playing like an all pro, like one of the best offensive linemen in the league. Terrence still got a lot to show me, but at the end of the day, I feel like if you can capitalize on offensive line, then especially center, right? Like we can talk about tackle, like, and what tackle would possibly be there, but at the end of the day, you still got Tyron Smith and you have a decent Terrence Steele that you feel decent about. If there's an emergency at left tackle, like a bad emergency, then Tyler Smith can play left tackle. We saw it, I think center is a huge emergency and a much bigger emergency than left tackle is, but we'll have that conversation one day or another. Long story short, my draft class last year didn't leave me a whole bunch of room, or they didn't leave me with a whole bunch of confidence to say, all right, y'all, we're just not going to draft the position next year. They didn't do it.